Hey, it's Christine, and with me right now is Nisha McKenzie. She is the gynecology PA at Grand Rapids OBGYN. This is just the Tip Tuesday. So we're gonna be giving you tips on Tuesdays of sex, relationships, stuff like that. So Nisha, why don't you explain to us real quick what you do over at Grand Rapids OBGYN.
So I'm a sexuality counselor and a sex educator, and I also do gynecology, but I try to incorporate the sexual health into my gynecology practice. And so I just let women talk to me about any questions they might have about sexual pain or desire discrepancies or lack of arousal or anything like that. So, because it's such a big part of overall health and relationships and just how we view ourselves and our self-image, and it has been a taboo topic. So we're out here to shout it to the world that it's okay to talk about it.
And this is why we're bringing you Just the Tips Tuesday, giving you all the tips you need to know. And for our very first tip video, we're going to be talking about National Orgasm Day. Yes, this is a real day. It's on July 31st. What's the story behind National Orgasm Day?
Some people think it's a gimmick for sex toy companies to start talking about things. We just utilize it as an opportunity to educate and to talk about orgasms and talk about the importance or the lack of importance of orgasms. And some people put too much importance on them, but there's all sorts of different kinds of orgasms and timing for orgasms, and you have them by yourselves or with other people. And so it's just a good opportunity to talk about it.
Where do we even begin? I guess we jump right in and say, what are the benefits of orgasms besides the obvious, of course?
So we usually begin before the orgasm. I love that we're starting with orgasm, our very first
I know, right? This is a way to get right in.
Starting right at the end.
No pun intended.
Orgasms have so many benefits. It releases a hormone called oxytocin, which is kind of like the cuddle hormone, so it's a feel-good hormone.
Yep.
So it can actually, there are studies that show that it can help headaches and decrease the severity of your headaches if you have a release or a rush of oxytocin.
Yeah.
It feels good. It's a stress reliever. There are other studies that show that it helps us stay younger or look younger. So orgasms are great. There's nothing wrong with orgasms. But sometimes the orgasm is so focused on. The orgasm doesn't have to be the only part of sex.
Yeah.
And in fact, oftentimes when couples will come in and they'll have this kind of discord in their relationships and they're not seeing eye to eye.
Okay.
And so we'll oftentimes take a step back and say, okay, we're going to take not only orgasm, but we're going to take sex off the table. People tend to look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them, listen, nobody's having sex for the next, a certain specified amount of time. So each couple determines their timing. So whether it's 6 weeks or something, we'll say there's no penetration for that time. And they go, wait a minute, we came to you saying we wanted to have better sex, we wanted to have more sex.
Not no sex.
You're going to take it away? But first of all, that builds the sexual tension.
It does. It's like, oh, right? I want to ravage you.
And then
after that long.
Exactly. People will come back in if they did their homework and they'll go, oh my God, we just had the best makeout session we've had in 20 years.
Can I just add, I love making out.
It can be fabulous.
It is.
Especially if there's not necessarily something at the end that you have to get to.
Yes.
If it's just the makeout session.
People need to make out more.
Absolutely.
It's getting a little hot.
Focusing on the orgasm can be detrimental sometimes, and so sometimes, like I said, then we kind of pull back and say, okay, let's not focus on that, let's focus on what does feel good. Because our biggest sexual organ is not our clitoris.
Even though it's got a lot of nerve endings.
It's got way more than the penis, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it trumps the penis every day.
8,000
versus 6,000.
Hey!
So really just own what works for you and understand that our biggest sexual organ is our skin.
Yes.
So utilize some of that. And then some of those times that we take sex off the table, we'll just work on touch. There's so many ways to orgasm, and there are so many ways to get there that, enjoy the journey.
Don't underestimate the power of foreplay.
Oh my
is
God.
What I'm getting out of this.
If you have good foreplay, you're probably going to be more likely to orgasm.
True. I speak from experience.
Another episode. Sometimes I'll even tell couples, let's take orgasm off the table and not all of sex.
Yeah.
Right? And we're going to build, and then there's this process called edging, where you kind of build up to it and then come back and build up to it and then
so
come
it's
back.
a tease is what it is.
It's a tease. So I teach people how to be teasers.
Yeah.
The best job I do get thank you cards even from men, so
That's
I gotta
awesome.
think there's something going on that's working okay. But when you do that tease, it builds up the sexual tension, and you learn to enjoy some of that process. And it's the process.
And
It's not.
I think that's what's important to remember. Like you said, it's the process, it's the journey, and it's okay if you don't orgasm. We don't all orgasm.
And
We
it's
want to
best
fake it.
if we don't fake it. I was
Yes.
just gonna say that. But faking it ultimately is really, that's the ultimate lie. And if you're lying about it, there's no trust. I don't care if it's a one-time partner or a 20, 30, 40-year partner. And studies do show that women in longer-term relationships have more and better orgasms, more satisfactory sex.
That's
than
amazing.
one-time. Yeah.
So, I mean, what about those people who say, oh yeah, like, I'm married now, we never have sex? What would you say to that?
Well, I would say we need at least a 1-hour consultation to start. The most important part of sex is communication and consent.
Yeah.
You get communication and consent down pat, you can do whatever you want with sex.
That's true.
You'll
There's
be
a whole
happy.
lot you can do with sex.
You'll be happy. So that's probably our tip for the day.
To bring it back all around, National Orgasm Day, July 31st. Since it is just the Tip Tuesday, once again, that tip for National Orgasm Day. You said
Communication and consent. And also you can wish my husband and I a happy anniversary because it happens to be our anniversary on
You're
National
gonna have-
Orgasm Day.
I assume she's gonna have multiple orgasms. No, that's gonna be a hell of an anniversary.
We didn't know that, to be fair, when we got married.
No, just,
But I think it's fate.
Yeah,
I think we all get into
I would say it's definitely
our lines
fate.
of work for a certain reason, and that must be what drew me to this.
All right, so once again, Nisha McKenzie, she is the gynecology PA over at Grand Rapids OBGYN. If couples want to, or if someone wants to talk to you about anything, how can they reach out to you? All that good stuff.
All the
you
good
know.
stuff.
Yeah.
We really just, I opened up a new sexual medicine center in West Michigan. So it's the only sexual medicine center in West Michigan. There's
Wow.
one in Ann Arbor, but that's the only one in West Michigan for now. So we'll have sex therapy. I'm a sex counselor, sex educators. We have a psych PA starting with us soon to deal with some of the psych-induced sexual dysfunction from the psych med. So the Center for Women's Sexual Health is, for now, the place to go that you can ask all these questions. And really it's just about embracing women and empowering them, because if women feel sexual, their partners are going to benefit too.
That's
It's not
so
just
true.
them.
So is there a number, an email someone can contact you by if they want to reach out to you?
So they can go to misexhealth.com.
Okay.
Or the phone number is 616-591-9100.
Perfect. Thank you, Nisha.
Thank
Anything
you.
want to add? Anything at all you want to add before
We started with orgasm. I feel like I need a cigarette now. I think we can be done.